Welcome back to Channel USA Coins 69, another exciting adventure into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're going to step back into a fascinating period of American history, the year 1943, to uncover the story of a very special coin, the United States of America 5-cent nickel from that year. At first glance, it might look like any other old nickel you've seen in pocket change or tucked away in a jar, but this coin carries a story of wartime necessity, unique metal composition, and hidden value that could surprise even the most experienced collectors. Stay tuned until the very end, because the value this little coin can reach today is absolutely stunning. To understand the true significance of the 1943 nickel, we need to place ourselves right in the heart of that time period. The world was in the middle of World War II. Every resource, every factory, and every ounce of material in the United States was being directed toward the war effort. Nickel, the metal normally used in these coins, was suddenly in high demand, not for coins, but for armor plating, artillery shells, and other military equipment. This meant the U.S. Mint had to find an alternative material to keep producing nickels for everyday use without depleting valuable resources needed on the battlefield. The solution was a remarkable change in the coin's composition. In 1942, halfway through the year, the Mint began producing what became known as wartime nickels. Instead of the traditional 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, the 1943 nickels were made from a blend of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. Yes, actual silver in a 5-cent coin. This change not only made them distinct in composition but also gave them a different appearance. The slight dull grayish tone and unique wear pattern made these coins stand out from other nickels once you knew what to look for. Another important detail about these wartime nickels is the mint mark. On regular Jefferson nickels before and after this period, the mint mark was placed to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. But during the war years from 1942 to 1945, the mint mark was moved to an unusually large position directly above Monticello. This design change was made so the government could easily pull silver-containing nickels out of circulation if necessary. In 1943, these coins were struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with mint marks P, D, or S prominently above the building. The design itself remains the classic Jefferson nickel style created by sculptor Felix Schlag. The obverse features the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His calm, dignified expression and detailed hair design are framed by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," along with the year 1943. On the reverse, Monticello, Jefferson's beautiful Virginia home, is depicted with sharp architectural lines. Beneath it are the words, 5 cents, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. Even during wartime, the Mint managed to maintain the artistry and symbolism of American coinage. What makes the 1943 nickel truly exciting for collectors today is the combination of history, silver content, and rarity in high grades. These coins were workhorses of the economy during the war, passed from hand to hand in shops, markets, and diners. As a result, most surviving examples show significant wear. Finding a 1943 nickel in well-preserved, uncirculated condition is rare, and that rarity drives serious demand. Even more thrilling is the fact that some of these coins have minting errors or unique characteristics that send their value skyrocketing. Collectors love to search for double die obverse or reverses, off-center strikes, or other small variations caused during the minting process. These unusual examples are worth far more than standard circulated coins. Since they were struck in silver alloy, many also have beautiful toning, natural rainbow or golden hues that developed over decades, which can make a coin even more desirable. The Philadelphia Mint's 1943 nickel holds a special place in history as it was the first U.S. coin to feature the P mint mark, a tradition that has continued on other coins ever since. The Denver and San Francisco versions are equally important to collectors, but condition is always key. A flawless coin with sharp details, full luster, and no signs of wear can bring staggering amounts at auction. Over the years, these wartime nickels have captured the imagination of collectors not only for their value but for what they represent, a nation adapting to the challenges of global conflict while still producing coins that would stand the test of time. They are small metallic reminders of a moment when every resource mattered, every change had meaning, and even a 5-cent coin could carry a piece of history in its metal. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1943 United States of America 5-cent nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition, possibly with a rare minting error, you could be holding a coin worth an astonishing $66,900. Just imagine, a nickel, originally worth only 5 cents, now valued at such an incredible figure. It's a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with curiosity and a sharp eye to discover them. So, the next time you sort through an old jar of coins, check that year, inspect that mint mark, and look closely at the details. You never know, your small piece of wartime history could turn out to be worth a fortune. Today, we're traveling back to the mid-1980s to explore a coin that most people would never suspect could be worth a small fortune, the United States of America 5-cent nickel from 1985. At first glance, it might look like just another common Jefferson nickel, the kind you might get as change at a store or find rattling around in a coin jar. But when you uncover the history, the design, the unique variations, and the collector demand for this coin, you'll see why some of them can sell for prices that will leave you speechless. Stay with me until the very end, because I'll reveal exactly how much the rarest examples of this coin have brought at auction, and it might just inspire you to start searching through your own change. The year 1985 was a fascinating time in the United States. Ronald Reagan was serving his second term as president, the economy was shifting after years of inflation in the 1970s, and pop culture was exploding with new styles, music, and technology. Yet while the world was embracing the future, the Jefferson nickel design had remained largely unchanged for decades. Since its introduction in 1938, this coin had been a familiar sight in every American's pocket, featuring the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. The 1985 5-cent nickel was struck at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, the Denver coins feature a small D mark, and the San Francisco coins, which were proof coins made specifically for collectors, carry an S mint mark. While millions of these coins were produced for everyday circulation, certain versions, especially those in exceptional condition or with striking errors, are now highly sought after by collectors. Let's talk about the design first. On the front, or obverse, is the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by the talented sculptor Felix Schlag. This portrait has a stately elegance. Jefferson's high collar, detailed hair, and calm expression embody the spirit of one of America's founding fathers. Around the edges are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1985, with a small mint mark to the right of the portrait, if applicable. On the back, or reverse, is Monticello, Jefferson's beautiful home in Virginia, rendered with delicate lines and symmetry. Above it is E pluribus unum, and below are the denomination, 5 cents, and United States of America. This design, despite being decades old by 1985, continued to symbolize American tradition and history. Now, while the design may not have changed, what makes certain 1985 nickels stand out in value is condition and rarity. Most nickels from 1985 were heavily used in daily commerce, passed from hand to hand at grocery stores, gas stations, diners, and movie theaters. Over the years, the majority of them became worn, with flattened details and scratches from countless transactions. However, a tiny fraction of these coins were never spent and have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. These coins retain their original mint luster, with every fine detail of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's architecture perfectly preserved. Then there are the error coins, and this is where things get especially exciting for collectors. In 1985, the mint, like any other year, occasionally produced coins with small but noticeable mistakes. These could be off-center strikes, double strikes, die cracks, or even the famous double die varieties where certain letters or features appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. Some coins were even struck on the wrong planchets, blank coins meant for other denominations. These unusual errors make each coin unique and can dramatically increase their value. proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are another point of interest. While they were never intended for circulation, some proof nickels have found their way into everyday transactions. These coins are made using specially polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish and incredibly sharp details. A 1985 proof nickel in perfect condition is already worth more than its face value, but one with a rare error can command an impressive price. Collectors also look for coins with exceptional eye appeal. Over decades, some nickels develop natural toning, shades of gold, blue, purple, or green caused by the coin's metal reacting with the environment. While some might see these colors as imperfections, many collectors find them beautiful and pay a premium for attractively toned coins. The fascinating thing about the 1985 nickel is that it's a perfect example of how an ordinary coin can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. Millions were minted, but only a small fraction remain in the kind of flawless condition that collectors dream of. Add in the possibility of a rare minting error, and you could be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to find a 1985 United States of America 5-cent nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare and desirable minting error, you could be looking at a value of an incredible $37,300. It's amazing to think that a coin worth just 5 cents in 1985 could now be worth that much to the right collector. So the next time you're sorting through old change or going through a coin collection, don't ignore those nickels from the 1980s. Take a closer look. You might just uncover a hidden treasure from a time when America was dancing to new music, watching classic movies, and minting coins that, decades later, would become valuable pieces of history. Today, we're heading back to the dawn of the 1990s, a time of change in America, to explore a coin that most people overlook every single day, the United States of America 5-cent nickel from 1990. You might think nickels from this era are too modern to have any real collector value, but you'd be surprised how much certain examples of this coin can sell for. By the time we reach the end of this story, you might find yourself rushing to check your change jar, because what seems ordinary could actually be hiding something extraordinary. The year 1990 was an interesting moment in American history. George H.W. Bush was president, the Cold War was nearing its end, and technology was quietly beginning to shape a new decade. In terms of coinage, the U.S. Mint was still producing the long-running Jefferson nickel, a design that had been in circulation since 1938. This design had already seen millions upon millions of strikes, yet collectors were beginning to notice that even newer coins could become valuable under the right conditions. The Jefferson nickel of 1990 continued to honor one of America's most influential founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, with the familiar left-facing portrait created by Felix Schlag. His dignified profile dominates the obverse, framed by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with the year 1990 positioned to the right. The mint mark, either P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, appears just next to the date. While Philadelphia and Denver struck nickels for everyday circulation, San Francisco produced proof coins intended specifically for collectors. Turn the coin over, and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's elegant home in Virginia. The building's neoclassical design is depicted with symmetrical columns, a central dome, and finely detailed architectural lines. Above Monticello is the phrase, E pluribus unum, while United States of America and 5 cents curve around the bottom. Despite the fact that this design had been used for decades, in 1990 it still carried a sense of timeless American identity. Now, you might wonder, if so many were made, how could a 1990 nickel possibly be valuable? The key factors are condition, rarity, and error varieties. While millions of these coins were minted, the vast majority were used in daily transactions, tossed into pockets, purses, and cash registers. Over time, this constant handling dulls the luster, flattens the fine details, and leaves behind scratches and nicks. But a small number of 1,990 nickels were set aside before they ever entered circulation. These coins remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, with their original mint luster intact and every design detail as sharp as the day they were struck. Collectors pay special attention to these high-grade examples, especially those graded by professional coin services as MS-67 or higher. In such flawless condition, even a relatively modern coin can command a significant price. And then there are the errors, those rare mistakes from the minting process that turn a regular coin into a collector's dream. In 1990, like in many other years, a handful of nickels left the mint with unusual characteristics: double die strikes, off-center designs, clipped planchets, and other rare anomalies. A double die obverse, for example, can cause Jefferson's profile or the lettering to appear slightly doubled, which is instantly appealing to collectors. Off-center strikes can be dramatic or subtle, but the more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin. Even a small but visible die crack or extra metal flaw can make a coin unique. The San Francisco proof nickels from 1990 are another interesting angle. Proof coins are struck using highly polished dies and planchets, giving them a mirror-like surface and razor-sharp details. While most proofs are carefully preserved by collectors, some have slipped into circulation, making them rare finds in everyday change. A flawless 1990s proof can already be worth more than face value, but add a rare error or unusual toning, and its price climbs even higher. Toning is another factor that adds interest and value to a 1990 nickel. Over decades, coins can develop beautiful natural colors due to chemical reactions between the metal and the air. Golden hues, deep blues, purples, and even rainbow patterns can appear on the surface, making each toned coin unique. When combined with excellent condition, eye-catching toning can set a coin apart and greatly increase collector demand. It's also worth noting that while nickels from the 1990s aren't considered old by most standards, their value potential is a reminder that modern coins should never be ignored. Many collectors make the mistake of focusing only on coins from the early 20th century or earlier, but rare varieties and pristine modern examples can be just as profitable. Imagine stumbling across a coin you've seen 1,000 times before, same size, same color, same design, only to find out that yours happens to be a rare error or one of the finest examples in existence. That's the thrill of coin collecting, and it's exactly why a 1990 nickel can sometimes fetch jaw-dropping prices at auction. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you have a 1990 United States of America 5-cent nickel in flawless, uncirculated condition, especially one with a rare and desirable minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth an astounding $30,600. Think about that. A nickel that once bought a piece of candy or went unnoticed in your change could now be worth more than a brand new car. So before you toss your coins aside, take a closer look. That 1990 nickel in your pocket could be more than just 5 cents, it could be a hidden treasure from a not-so-distant past. If you've ever gone through your spare change without giving much thought to those small, dull coins at the bottom of your pocket or coin jar, you might be overlooking something truly remarkable. Among the many coins produced by the United States Mint, one year in particular has captured the fascination of collectors and treasure hunters alike: the 1964 United States of America 5-cent Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it may seem like just another common nickel, but under the right conditions and with certain unique characteristics, it could be worth far more than its face value. Today, we're diving deep into the story of this coin, its history, design, minting details, and most importantly, what could make it worth a small fortune. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin's obverse features a detailed portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. His stoic profile faces left, with the word Liberty elegantly scripted to his side, accompanied by the date of minting. On the reverse, you'll find a depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate, along with the denomination 5 cents and United States of America. This design became a staple of American coinage for decades, with subtle changes over the years. The year 1964 holds special significance in American coin history. This was the last year that the Jefferson nickel would be struck in large quantities before a dramatic change in U.S. coin production in response to rising metal prices. In the mid-1960s, a nationwide coin shortage gripped the country, partly due to hoarding by the public. To address the shortage, the U.S. Mint produced an extraordinary number of coins in 1964, especially nickels. In fact, over 2.8 billion Jefferson nickels were minted that year between the Philadelphia and Denver mints, making them among the most common nickels ever struck. So, if the 1964 nickel is so common, why are some of them worth much more than 5 cents? The answer lies in a combination of factors: condition, rarity of certain varieties, and historical minting quirks. While the majority of 1964 nickels have long since worn down in circulation, a small number have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition, with sharp details, no scratches, and beautiful luster. Collectors value these high-grade examples greatly, especially those graded by professional coin grading services at the highest levels, such as MS66, MS67, or even higher. One particularly intriguing variety that collectors hunt for is the 1964 full steps nickel. On the reverse of the coin, if you look closely at the steps leading up to Monticello, you'll notice that on most coins, the steps are worn or incomplete. However, on a small percentage of nickels from that year, the steps are fully visible and sharply struck, an indication of exceptional die quality and careful minting. These full steps examples are significantly rarer and can command dramatically higher prices at auction. There are also rare error coins from 1964 that can boost the value sky high. Some examples include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong planchets. These minting mistakes are incredibly rare, and because they are often unique or nearly so, collectors are willing to pay premium prices for them. Another factor driving value is the historical significance of the 1964 nickel in the broader context of U.S. coinage. This was the year before the United States eliminated silver from its dimes and quarters, marking a major turning point in the nation's coin-making history. Although nickels did not contain silver, their production in 1964 still holds a special place for collectors due to the massive output, the varieties created, and the cultural moment they represent. When it comes to determining the worth of a 1964 Jefferson nickel, it all boils down to details. An average circulated example might only be worth its face value of 5 cents, but a coin in exceptional condition, with rare features like full steps or unique errors, can be worth hundreds, even thousands of times more. Collectors are always on the lookout for such gems, and many are willing to pay astonishing sums to add them to their collections. The thrill of finding one of these valuable nickels is part of what keeps coin collecting so exciting. Imagine sifting through a jar of loose change, spotting a 1964 nickel, and realizing that the small coin in your hand could be a hidden treasure. This possibility is why people across the country continue to search through their change, visit coin shows, and keep an eye out for rare finds at flea markets or estate sales. So, the next time you come across a 1964 Jefferson nickel, don't dismiss it too quickly. Check its condition carefully, look for the full steps detail, and keep an eye out for any unusual features. You never know, you could be holding a small piece of history that's worth much more than you imagine. Some of these coins, in perfect mint condition with the rarest features, have sold for as much as $53,200. Today we're going to uncover exactly what makes certain 1987 nickels so special. The 1987 Jefferson nickel belongs to a fascinating chapter in U.S. coin history. Designed by Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel had already been a staple in American pockets since its debut in 1938. On the obverse, you'll find the dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, with his steady gaze looking to the left and the inscription, "In God We Trust," wrapping around. The reverse features a crisp image of Monticello, Jefferson's home, with its neoclassical elegance captured in miniature. At first glance, the 1987 issue doesn't stand out dramatically, no flashy commemorative design, no striking new metal composition, just a continuation of the beloved Jefferson design. But here's the thing, even though the 1987 nickel wasn't minted with the intention of becoming rare, the quirks of coin production, combined with collector demand, have made some examples highly valuable. The U.S. Mint struck nickels in Philadelphia and Denver that year, each producing millions. You'll spot the mint mark, either a P for Philadelphia or D for Denver, just to the right of Monticello on the reverse. While most of these coins entered circulation and lived out ordinary lives buying candy, paying for bus fares, or sitting in piggy banks, a select few were struck under exceptional conditions or preserved in perfect states, making them highly desirable to collectors today. One of the main things that can turn a 1987 nickel from pocket change into prize money is its condition. Coins graded in mint state, especially those achieving a high MS65, MS66, or even MS67, are scarce. Imagine a coin that has never seen the inside of a cash register, never been tossed into a vending machine, and has been protected from scratches, nicks, and discoloration for decades. Such pristine condition gives the coin a mirror-like shine and razor-sharp detail, and collectors will happily pay top dollar to add such a gem to their collections. Then there are the error coins, those accidental masterpieces created during the minting process. Struck through errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and die cracks can transform a standard 1987 nickel into something truly extraordinary. These aren't your everyday imperfections, they're rare mint mishaps that make each affected coin unique. For example, an off-center strike where Jefferson's face is shifted noticeably from its usual position, or a dramatic die crack running across the coin's surface, can send collector interest, and prices, soaring. Another factor is provenance. Sometimes coins are discovered in original U.S. mint sets, sealed since 1987, with flawless preservation. These untouched coins often have that extra visual pop, rich luster, clean fields, and sharp edges, that make them stand out in grading submissions. If a 1987 nickel has both rarity in condition and a unique story, it's not just a coin, it becomes a small piece of history encased in metal. For collectors and treasure hunters, spotting these valuable nickels requires a keen eye. Start by checking the mint mark and overall condition. Look for signs of sharp detail in Jefferson's hair, Monticello's columns, and the steps leading up to it. These details often get worn down quickly in circulation, so a coin with all of them intact is special. Next, examine the coin under magnification for doubling, die breaks, or other anomalies. Finally, remember that professional grading by services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and solidify a coin's market value. Now, here's where things get exciting. While most 1987 nickels are worth just their face value, the rarest and most pristine examples have been known to fetch incredible sums at auction. In one extraordinary case, a flawless high-grade specimen, preserved in breathtaking condition, crossed the auction block for an unbelievable $28,700.